This is an SM Media production.
Hi folks, and welcome to the penultimate episode of the East of Scotland football show right here on SM Media. I am Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure as always to be your host. Thought we'd try something a wee bit different this week. We've usually kind of managers on. We've obviously kind of been talking about the kind of in-depth of clubs and things like that. Thought we'd take a wee bit of more of a kind of stats look at the season so far, and obviously to join me on that, it's the man I get all my stats from when it covers East of Scotland. He's a big reason that the team of the seasons went the way they did. So if you're not happy, blame Ryan. It's a pleasure to welcome Ryan Kelly. Sorry if I put the blame on you, but I'll be honest, you're probably the reason there's a team of the season, because if it wasn't for you, I don't think I'd get any stats. Thanks for joining
Oh,
me.
brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Scott. Indeed, I can see the emails coming in as we speak on the other laptop there. They're coming in thick and fast, so thanks very much for that.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. In terms of the season, obviously, like covering East of Scotland for a couple of years, I don't think I've seen it as competitive, as enjoyable to watch from an outside standpoint. Yourself, obviously, we'll get to your club. Obviously, if you don't know, Ryan's kind of highly involved with Musselburgh. Like, in terms of the whole structure of the leagues this season, I don't think I've seen it better.
No, and I think that's kind of justified by the fact that we're on the last week of the season and there's still loads to play for, as we're about to chat about. And even tonight, games on, along at Arniston, at Ormiston, and there's something at stake in all these games. So that kind of says that the season's went really well and really interesting. So I'm hoping it has a sort of positive finish with the last couple of weeks. Loads of goals, loads of games, and big crowds. That's what we
Yeah,
want.
that's a big thing. Big crowds, obviously. We're getting to the stage where there's pretty much games every night. So I think there is obviously something for everybody to get involved in. As I say, we're recording this on Monday night, show will get out on Tuesday. So, I mean, I'm hoping this will be out before the Tuesday games, and there's a lot to play for in the next kind of few games. And then kind of next week, we've kind of got the kind of final weekend of action. You've got Broxburn in the playoff that we'll talk about later on. But overall, as I say, there is something kind of it's keeping us busy for the next kind of few days until we kind of wrap up the season. Probably as well starting with Broxburn in terms of the job they've done, but I want to start by talking about Musselburgh. I remember at the start of the season trying to do the predictions and things like that, and I didn't see Musselburgh finishing second, I'll be honest. I knew they had a good squad. It's been some achievement, Musselburgh, to be in the position they're in. Like, how would you kind of analyse that? And I think a lot of credit has to go to the management team and the structure of the club. And I think, I know I'm keen to get your thoughts on it, but I think Musselburgh have probably been the standout team in that division in terms of the position they're in. But I didn't see that at the start of the season.
All right. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm, followed quite a few of the teams, especially in East Lothian, for a wee while. I've got to be honest with you, Scott, and I'm not going to say this after the horses bolted. I had Musselburgh down as my favourites
Okay.
to win the league. For me, Broxburn were a wee bit of a surprise outfit. I mean,
Okay.
Broxburn finished ninth last season,
Mm-hmm.
ninth, and they've just come from nowhere, to be quite honest with you. A lot of folk back Genefield, Socky were quite good because they finished second last season as well. So it was kind of Socky, Genefield, and Musselburgh. So Broxburn, in my opinion anyway, have been the surprise outfit. I think also Scott, East Lothian neighbours, Dunbar.
Yeah.
Dunbar, they're sitting fourth. I think they're guaranteed a fourth position finish, having been promoted last year. I think that actually, I know you've had Gary on the show before. I genuinely think that they are, I would say, the team of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like when obviously the kind of manager of the season's coming up, and I think it's very, very tough because it is. There's so many teams. Like, you look at it like Halabeed as well. Obviously, a tough start. Really get sorted towards the kind of the second half of the season. Luncarty as well, for where they were, like another team, new manager, and they've just been able to find their feet. And I think they're probably two sides that jump at me a full season. They could be a lot higher up, and even Hutchie Vale as well. I mean, there's a lot of sides you could go through every side and just say like they've been really, really good this season. I don't think there's many disappointments. Like that again shows you like just how good the league is.
I think so. You mentioned Lancari. I watched Lancari right at the start of the season, maybe 4 or 5 games in at Haddington, and Lancari got beat 4-0. And I was watching the game, and I'm going, how is that a 4-0 game? I mean, Haddington played well, scored 4 goals, obviously, and I'm looking at it going, no, they're a better side than that. You know, they missed a lot of chances, created a lot of chances, and you know what? They've hit a bit of form. You've got, well, I suppose when you've got Haaland and Messi playing for you as well, that helps with Davis and Scarborough up front scoring the goals. Love the social media posts for that. That's something that's really shot up in the East of Scotland recently, is the social media side of the game.
Yeah,
no, definitely Lancari. You could argue Haddington a good season. You mentioned Hillabith after the sort of sticky start. In terms of Broxburn, I think, listen, you lose 2 games in a 30-game season, you deserve to go up. You know, I know they've still got the playoff against Derby, which we'll talk about, but you can't really look past them.
And it has been that consistency, and that's kind of something that I think kind of won them the league. I'm just looking. They lost to Dunbar at home in October, and like there's no like you look at just the consistency. They're very, very solid all season, as you say. Only lost 2 games. They lose to Glenrothes in the 16th of March. I mean, it's to only lose 2 games in that league. I mean, it's brilliant consistency. They've got a lot of good experience though. And when we were doing the team of the season, I was very, very much of the opinion, try and not get any more than 3 players from each team, and that was my rule all season across every league. And you were leaving a lot of really good players out, and I know I left a couple out for Broxburn that I know could easily have got in, but just how solid they've been has been really impressive to me. Like they've just been that the spine is really good. Like I've left out Bob Watt, for example, just in it. I've heard my pelters for that, and rightly so, because I did try and balance it out the best way we could and try to get as many teams involved. But there's a lot of good players in that Broxburn side that have been so impressive this season that deserve their plaudits for just how well they've performed in terms of the balance. The balance in the squad, I think, is very, very good. And I think it's a balance, if they are to go up, which we will preview later, it's a balance that if they keep that, they're going to do really well in the Lowland League.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned some of the players. I think Errol Douglas, 30 goals. I mean, wow. You mentioned the 2 losses in 30 games. One thing I would add to that is that they've actually got 25 points this season from losing positions.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that shows a bit of fight, that. And a couple of the games I went to watch where they were losing, I think there was 1 month, possibly even 2, January and February, where they were behind in every game and didn't get beat or won. So that's the difference. Even from the point of view of other teams, when they see Broxburn, they're a goal down, what a chance, we've got a chance down, and they look back at, Broxburn have won. So it can be demoralising for the other teams as well. But you can't look past that. 30 goals, 25 points from losing positions.
Yeah, absolutely. The kind of only real permutation we had getting into last weekend was who was going to be the 3rd relegation place, and we got it confirmed, obviously. Swifts and Glenrothes, Swifts had to win, but hope, even if they had to win and hope they would just match or better Glenrothes' result, and hope goals went in their favour. Obviously, turned out the other way. Glenrothes stayed up, and I think a lot of credit has to go to them, because there was a time in the season I thought they were probably down and out as well, so they've done really well to stay up. The Swifts, I think, and obviously speaking to Craig and Jason last week, they strike me as a side that, even though that league next season will be very, very hard to get out of, I think they're a side that are just building for the season. I don't imagine them being down for long.
I think you're right. You get the feeling as well. This sounds like I'm maybe going to come out wrong here, but it's a club that, to me, that sounds like it's more just than about the result. It's about building for the future. I think you look at the teams they've got, you look at the average age of their team. I'm not saying they're not disappointed to be relegated. I'm just saying that it's about developing players, bringing them through. The problem for Hillfield, for the Swifts, was that mid-season run with 1 win and 12.
Yeah, it's probably what's killed them, isn't it?
Has 8 goals. We mentioned Errol there with 30. They do score goals, but they also concede. You've got both teams have scored in 22 of their 30 games, and that's maybe where it is, with a real lack of clean sheets. And that comes from maybe having a younger team. But it's one of those things. I'm sure they'll bounce back. They're 13 points worse off than last season, but it has been a more competitive league. There's no doubt about that, and that's what it backs it up.
Yeah, and you look at obviously Glenrothes as well. Like they've got some big results in there that's kind of kept them going. Obviously, the only side to beat the only one or two sides to beat Broxburn, but they had a really kind of big result against Crossgates that probably kind of kept them going, to be honest. Like that was the result that kind of probably doomed Crossgates and kind of gave them the wee boost. And I know they lost their 2 games after that, but going into the final day where all you need to do is try and avoid defeat and kind of hope results go your way, to do what they did in the last day against a side who I think have been quite good this season, like in terms of consistency, to do what they did against Tynecastle, I think is very, very good. And again, they've had points deducted as well, and like you can probably argue they're in a better position, they're in a worse position than they probably think they should be, but to get that over the line and be a set, like again, Luncarty deserve a lot of credit. I think Glenrothes as well, because there was a point in the season you really feared the worst for them, and they got results at key times to kind of keep them in the league.
Aye, and another sort of example of how well Dunbar have done is that the teams that came up, Glenrothes did come up last season. So did Luncarty. Dunbar have finished higher above all of them, top 4. The Glenrothes' point of view, again, another team that scored goals. Scott, another team that scored goals. 14 out of their 15 games away from home, both teams have scored. So maybe again, there's a wee sign there that it's maybe down to the defence as well. I think only Haddington were the only team to actually stop them scoring. 19 points though. Scott lost one winning position, so almost the opposite of Roxburn. It's one of those things. Can be down to squads, can be down to injuries. At the end of the day, they've done well to stay up, I think. So credit where it's due. They'll surely look to push on next season.
Right. I know we're talking about the playoff later on, but I've not had confirmation yet, and I've not had confirmation yet anywhere what is happening if Broxburn go up, because I know Edinburgh Uni are coming down. In terms of the first division, right, I'm imagining if Broxburn don't get promoted, only 2 go up. Is that right?
That's my understanding, Scott.
Yeah.
That's my understanding. It's one of those things where you're almost kind of waiting until it happens before you play your hand. It's almost like a game of poker here. I'm kind of going, I'm not 100% sure.
Because I don't want to come on and say a lot of that Whitburn, Camelon, Newton Grange are guaranteed promotion, because the reality is I don't think they are until we know what's happening. Like obviously, if Broxburn go up, you'd imagine like, the third place is going to be pretty much guaranteed for whoever finishes third. But like I know, obviously, with Edinburgh coming down, I know it wasn't the same last year. I know that's why 4 went up last year, is because Dalbeattie went down. So I would imagine if Dalbeattie were to go back up, then there's 2 will go up, and Dunipace have obviously clinched it, and St Andrews can still obviously be champions. It obviously depends on the kind of final run in, and St Andrews have obviously got a big game coming up. St Andrews as well, they've just been a side that's went about their business very, very quietly. Like there's not a lot in terms of information at the club, in terms of like they're probably one of the most quieter clubs in social media, and again, that's not always a bad thing, but they've just went about their business so well. And again, they've got a really good striker, they've got a good balance to their side, a good coach, and they're a side that I think, along with Dunipace, will do really well next season. I said that, I thought that at the beginning, if St Andrews were to, if the boy Sawyers had kept scoring goals like he has done, if they're able to get that balance, then they're pretty good. And it's the same here, that they've done it, and fair play to them.
And again, it's all about going on wee runs here. They've not drawn a game. I think that's one of the things. Maybe they've been pushing for the win, pushing for the 3 points, and that's maybe been the difference. So 9 wins and 10, again, going on runs like that. You've seen what can happen with Thornton further down. I know that's more than 9 wins, 19 wins in total.
Yeah.
Again, another situation where 15 points, they're losing positions for St Andrews. So home form has been really good. They've done really well in the cups as well. So difficult place to go, difficult pitch in terms of the sort of camber of the pitch. But a lovely place, by the way, if you ever get the opportunity. You've been up there?
I've been up there a while ago. It's a very nice place. Yeah, I would
lovely
recommend it.
It's really nice people. Proper makes the journey well worthwhile when you get a welcome like that. So yeah, looking forward to going there in the Premier League next season.
Absolutely, yeah. Right, let's just assume that Broxburn are going up. Who's more likely to join them? I think just looking at the table, I mean, Whitburn had a good result of the weekend going to Kirkcaldy, which is never an easy place to go, winning 2-1. Camelin beat Oakley 4-0. Newton Grange lost at home, which I think is probably, I think Newton Grange will need a lot of luck to get that third place. But Whitburn look to be the front runners. Like, just look in terms of the kind of games they've got left, like they play Lockwood. They'll be hoping that St Andrews can do them a favour on Tuesday night. Like, I would think if you were to say who's the favourites, it's got to be Whitburn at the moment.
I think tough to agree with. Tough to agree with. I think the fact that both the games, as far as I'm aware, are at home. Lockwood at home, Newton Grange at home, Whitburn. With Newton Grange playing a tough game, St Andrews on Tuesday, I think it is, Tuesday night. Tuesday night. And by the way, Camelin still got to go away to Whitehall Welfare, I think it is. So if you learn one thing in this Scott, is that it really is difficult to predict. 1 minute you think, it's looking nailed on that such and such is going to do it, and then out the blue, the opposite happens. For a long time, I think Camelin were doing really well. They were in the promotion places, kind of fell away a wee bit, or teams with games in hand have just caught them up. Newton Grange, again, been there and thereabouts, went on good runs as well, that you have to be honest there, and it's just a case of putting a big run together. That's what St Andrews have done. Whitburn, pretty similar. They'd went ages without a home game. At one point during the season, I think they'd only played 4 games. They were actually the least amount of home games in the whole of Scotland. And those games have just started to pick up the points. A crucial win, as you said, on Saturday. And then 2 home games. I'd imagine there'll be a massive crowd for the home game against Newton Grange. And, best team always prevails. That's how it'll work.
And it's been a very, very interesting season with what's happened kind of down the bottom. But you look at 6th to 13th, I mean, there's only, 12 points splitting Heriot Watt to Lockwood right now. I mean, it's been another very solid league, and we spoke about it last week as well. There's a lot of sides in there. You think that next season, once they kind of get, a lot of sides will be busy in the summer. There's a lot of sides there that can put up a good attempt next summer. I think that could have the makings of a really good league next season.
Kind of disagree with you. When you look at the teams that are coming into the league and the teams that are coming, from both ways, that league's going to be a tough one. But I think what you're finding now is we're about 3 or 4 years in since everybody's joined into the East of Scotland. What you're finding almost now is that teams are finding their level. When teams find their level, the games are more competitive. I don't think there's been any massive, 10-0s or 12-0s or anything like that. I can't think on any offhand. Games are really competitive, really close. So I think that's telling you that, that next season, I should say, after these promotions and relegations, it could be even tighter this time next year.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned obviously the second division. We know that it's either Bowness and Thornton are up. Quite an interesting end of the season there to see who's going to be crowned champions. I think a lot of at the start of the season would have said Bowness were nailed on to win that league, and you've mentioned this phenomenal run for Thornton Hibs, and they're only a point behind with 2 games left. They've got 2 away games against Kennaway and Coldstream. You'd imagine they will win both. They'll be looking for Bowness to slip up, but again, they are 2 really, really good sides that you think could be very, very good next season.
I went to watch Thornton Hibs against Bowness Athletic on Saturday. A great game it was, by the way. 6 goals, 4-2 win for Thornton. There was a missed penalty in there for Bowness, with shots flying in for every single angle possible. A proper game, scorching sunshine, brilliant crowd. And you're kind of going, could do a few more months of this, but sadly only a couple of weeks left. In terms of both sides, Bowness were looking odds on, you would argue. They went on some great runs. If you take away the 2 defeats they've had for Thornton, it's 14 wins, in 16 games. Another team, 21 points, won from losing positions. But then you look at Thornton, and I think, I don't know if you were able to have a look at the back of the match report, and it's got some of the stats on there. The 19 wins in a row we mentioned. Gary Thompson's stats are incredible. I think I've seen that it's the 5,000 goals since the turned junior in 1935. I love stats, but that is an unbelievable stat. 5,000 goals, brilliant. And of course, Thornton have beaten Bonus 9-3 on aggregate. No many teams will say that.
Nah, certainly not. Whoever kind of goes up is between, well, we know it's between two. Armadale, you would have thought as well at the start of this, just the kind of way they were going at the start of the season, you would have said it's unthinkable that they would be fighting for promotion. But Edinburgh South are another that have went on a really good run. They've had the games to make up as well. And it's coming down to the last two games. Edinburgh South won their two games, they're up. And I will feel really, really sorry for Armadale if they were to somehow not get promoted. But Edinburgh South, towards the end of the season in particular, have been very, very good. So I think it's a really, really intriguing race there.
Well, I can't disagree with you again. And I think the teams are playing will have a big say in this.
Mm-hmm.
Coldstream, Kennaway, Star Hearts. Now, in terms of who wins the title, you've got Kennaway, Star Hearts and Coldstream to play host to Thornton. So again, there's going to be a wee influence there on who wins the league.
Mm-hmm.
And Edinburgh South are still to host Coldstream and Kennaway Star. And Armadale, they had a tough game in the cup away to Bunt Island, so there's no guarantee they'll get, there's no guarantee for 3 points. I still think there might be a few wee twists and turns. I watched Edinburgh South on the Sunday, the Hillfield Cup, the Swifts Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Newborough 2-1. Watched them. They were a very good side indeed. Play some really nice football. But the sort of danger is that the amount of games they've had to play,
Mm-hmm.
Due to all the pitch issues and the sharing the ground and all the rest of it. You're hoping that doesn't come out and catch them out. But as they stand just now, I think at the start of the season, if somebody had said, what, win your last 2 games and you're guaranteed to go up or you're going to finish third, I think they probably would have took that in a strong week. Bowness, Staunton, Edinburgh College as well.
Mm-hmm.
Dalkeith, these are big sides. So it's a great achievement, I think, for Edinburgh South to be in that position. And Armadale, I know you had Colin on a few weeks ago on the show. I thought he spoke absolutely brilliantly. Mm-hmm. A couple of weeks ago, Scott, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So a very good side as well. They've just kind of lost too many games. They've just been on the wrong end of a few defeats.
Yeah. They've kind of like they had a really, really good start, and you thought like they're pretty much. I mean, you thought last season they were pretty much gonna do what they did, but they've just had a bit of a tough kind of end to the season. They've lost kind of some big games, and again, I think whoever finishes fourth will be very strong to go up next season. So again, it's going to be very, very interesting. Down at the bottom, it's probably set in stone that Ormiston will be relegated. They need to win all 3 games and hope for a 25-goal swing, or even 28-goal swing if they were to somehow get above Bunt Island. That's not happening, is it? Ormiston as well. They've done really. There's some good results in there this season. I think Tweedmouth have been excellent towards the end of the season, but Ormiston, it's probably just a bridge too far, isn't it? It has to be. There's no way they can do that.
There's no way, but I think if I've learned one thing in football, it's until it's math. I mean, I was listening to. Sorry to take it away from you to Scotland, but I was listening to the Rangers manager after the game on Saturday, and one of the questions he was asked was, is it possible now to win the league? And he went, oh well, it's no mathematically impossible. And you kind of go, I mean, I've been in that situation before, where we needed to win our last 4 games to stay up. When I was working at Newton Grange, and nobody thought that Newton Grange were going to win those last 4 games, especially some of the teams were way along Lithgow, I think, and Jeanfield at home, and proper big teams, and nobody gave us a chance. And sure enough, one win, 2 wins, 3 wins, and then the 4th win. It just goes to show you, a team wants to go for it. A team throws everything at it. This is the business end of the season. Can I see Ormiston doing it? Well, we might know in a few hours' time. In fact, we will know in a few hours' time how they're getting on at home to Musselburgh Athletic. That's a game that's got ramifications at the bottom and at the top. Listen, if they do it, they're buying a lottery ticket. That's all I'll say. But some effort you have to say. Again, another competitive league.
Yeah.
Another competitive league. They beat East Houses, I think, 7-0 a few weeks ago, if my memory serves me correct. And East Houses were comfortably top half of the table at the time. Newborough, again, that's a place I went up to a few weeks ago and watched Newborough. I was impressed with Newborough, and yet they're sitting second bottom of the league. So it's a strong league. There's no doubt about that. Any team can beat any team. It's credit that you look at the run that Thornton are on, and they might not even win that league. So that tells you how competitive that is.
Looking at the third division, obviously we know that West Calder and Bathgate are promoted, and obviously it looks like West Calder only needs a point to secure the championship. Hart Hill in third, and I think they only need 2 points for the last two games, which I'm pretty sure, just looking at the table, very likely they're going to get. They play West Calder and then they're at home to Livingston United on Thursday, so you'd imagine they're going to get that. So it's looking very, very good for Hart Hill, and they're a side that have really, really impressed me this season. To be where they are just now, I think is remarkable.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you there. I think you look at some of the runs the teams have went on. West Calder, for example, went on a run of 15 wins mid-season in a row. So they're going to be there or thereabouts. Bathgate on a run just now, currently 1 loss and 9, and that was against Hart Hill. They've only failed to score once. And Hart Hill themselves, current on 3 wins in a row, if he was in positions, and you look at where they were last season, Scott bottom of the third division, or bottom of the lowest league. So yeah, kind of disagree with you. Some really good, strong teams in there as well. Mentioned Falthouse, 1 win and 1 loss, I should say, in 10. Lochgelly, who have went on some run. Stonyburn, who I watched a few weeks ago at Livingston, and I was impressed with them. I was also impressed with Livingston. I was looking at where they were in the league, and I'm going, played some really nice, attractive football. So it is a strong league. There's no doubt about that. As you say, though, hard to see past Hart Hill just now, and you've got to say that West Calder look favourites to clinch the championship. But again, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like West Calder and Bathgate, they've fairly been kind of neck and neck all season, and kind of West Calder, obviously, Bathgate beat West Calder a couple of weeks ago, but Bathgate have had a couple of kind of tough results towards the kind of later end. They obviously lost to Hart Hill. They drew 3 each a few weeks before that against Lochgelly, which has probably been the reason that they're probably not going to win the title. But I think there's a few good sides in that for next season. I think Linton could be really good. Howick, I think they've been good as well. Stonyburn, Falthouse, a lot of good sides in that league. Again, just another cracking advert for the league. The final big weekend of the season comes on Saturday, where get some final kind of permutations. Just looking at some of the games that are coming up, you've got the likes we mentioned, Whitburn, Newton Grange. I think could be very good. You're probably going to find out either Bo'ness or Thornton who are going to win the title. Like Hart Hill will know the League Cup's on as well. Broxburn travel to Dalbeattie in the final, the first leg of the playoff. I've said all along, I fancied Broxburn. I would fancy Broxburn strongly to beat Dalbeattie. Not that Dalbeattie are a bad side. I just think Broxburn have got a lot more in the locker, and I think they are like. I've been saying this a lot to people I've been speaking to, like Linlithgow and Trinent have done really well going up to the Lowland League. If Broxburn were to do it, I can see them being very, very good in that league next season. Like they probably will need a season to adapt, just like Trinent and Linlithgow have had. But once they get there, I think they're going to be there to stay. I think they're a very good side, and I think the future is very, very bright for Broxburn if they see this out.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt there'll be a welcome addition to the Lowland League. Again, it's just a case of teams finding their level. I think Broxburn, you could argue, Musselburgh, Jeanfield, Socky, maybe I can see in the next 5 years those teams being an addition in there as well.
Yep.
Dalbeattie's form, where they're playing a game tonight at home to Creetown, but they're on a run just now, 2 wins and 7. So I'm looking at it going, are Broxburn sort of coming into this in a good run of form, or has Dalbeattie's form dipped? Are they resting players? It's difficult having not watched them. They do score goals. I mean, their average sort of result is 4-1. They played 22 league games, won 17, scored 92 goals and only conceded 22, so a goal a game. Their strike force seems to be, the two teams actually seem to be quite similar.
Yeah.
The strike force has scored 76 of their 92 goals. Players like Dan Milligan, Ross Hunter, Cammy Shaw, Connor Potts, the list goes on. A lot of goals on that side. So I can see there being both teams scoring, but who comes out of it? You just got to fancy Broxburn just because of the standard of the league that they've been playing in has been really, really high this season. I've not seen enough of the South of Scotland League to kind of compare them, but it should be 2 cracking games. Hopefully there's massive crowds. I know there was 535 at Broxburn on Saturday, so you're kind of hoping for double that for the importance of the game. and then hoping that they'll be to get a big crowd down there as well. So it should be an interesting one, mate. No doubt
Yeah, it's
about
going to
that.
be very, very good, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening. This is obviously the second last show of the season. We will be doing a final kind of wrap-up show in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. Ryan, thank you very much for joining me in this episode. It's been a real pleasure, and again, thank you very much for joining me, and thanks very much for what you've done for the East this season.
No, mate, and I may as well just say that in return to yourself as well. I've enjoyed watching and learning from all the managers that you've had on. I thought Rob was brilliant on one of the first shows, the Tynecastle manager. I enjoyed Gary Small as well, my good friend down at Dunbar. It's been really, really informative. The work that you're doing to promote this level of football hasn't gone unnoticed, and I'm sure all the clubs are grateful for it as well. So from me to you, I thank you as well, mate.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in. We'll be back in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping next week. It might be the week after once we tidy everything up. And thank you very much. For more East of Scotland content, then tune in to our social media. Thank you very much, folks.